Hello, welcome to Hollywood Crime Scene. This is Rachel Fisher.
Hi, this is Desi Jedeikin. Well, today we will be discussing the life of author, actress, and one of the all-time iconic video vixens, Karinne Steffans, aka Superhead. Now, she was everywhere in the early 2000s, and she has had quite a wild life, including sexual relationships with some of the biggest names in music. And she told all in her 2005 memoir, Confessions of a Video Vixen. Did you read this book?
I didn't, but I remember this book.
So this basically covers the first 25 years of her life, and they are jam-packed. Are you excited about this?
I'm so excited about it.
I got no reaction. I was like, oh, okay.
No, I am excited.
Okay.
I'm sorry. My brain is still trying to, I'm like putting together like that algebra gif. I'm like, when does the Bush reference come in?
Well, we will get to that. So let's get started. Karinne was born in St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands in August of 1978 to an 18-year-old native of the island and a 26-year-old guy from Long Island who eventually goes back to the mainland when Karinne is just 6 years old. Her mom then moves back in with Karinne's grandmother, who's living in a 4-room, 1-bath house with 5 other relatives and eventually 2 more sisters. That's 10 people. So conditions are pretty rough here. They have no hot water, no AC. They don't have washing machines. And sometimes they even have to drink water from the toilet, like to whatever, to have something to drink.
Yeah.
So thank God for plumbing and water. I'm always so grateful when I hear stories like this that some people just don't have that. It's like a luxury.
Yeah.
So despite a mom who's kind of aimless and not really pushing her kids, Karinne is very smart from the start. Karinne really resented her mom, and she even starts off the chapter about her childhood with the sentence, "I hate my mother." So she's the original.
I hate my mom. I'm glad my mom died.
She did that way before what's her name?
Jeanette
McCurdy.
So that's the title of this chapter?
Yeah, or not the title, it's like the first jarring sentence.
Yeah.
So she said these feelings were with her from the age of 3, and it makes sense. Her mom is an abusive narcissist who is basically prioritizing the attention of men above all else. She's very beautiful, but according to Karinne, very unhappy, and always felt someone had done her wrong. She had a reputation as a man stealer and a cheat. Like, she was always with men who were married or had a significant other. And this is definitely something Karinne talks about playing out as an adult herself. She's the constant side piece who never thinks that she deserves to be the one.
Yeah.
There were always men revolving in and out of her life. She was often forced to call them uncle and kind of build a relationship, and then they would just disappear, which is incredibly traumatizing. Then she would have to sometimes watch her mom beg for them not to leave, and she was like, I'm embarrassed by her behavior. Like, she's embarrassing. When she would get compliments, her mom was the first to put a dim on her shine. She was competitive with her daughter from the day she was born.
That's always like so...
It's sick. I mean, her mom is really young. Not that that's excusing anything, but
there's some maturity level there.
Yeah. So luckily her grandmother was there to give her a sort of strict but loving role model. Not only was her mom a hoe, though, she was also very abusive to Karinne, oftentimes beating her or coming up with other sick punishments. For instance, one time making her kneel with a massive dictionary on her head for hours. And this caused constant fights between Karinne's grandmother and mother. And eventually the mom had enough and took her 3 daughters and moved to Florida when Karinne was 10. This was very traumatic for her, obviously. She lost her main ally, but she also lost, like, this zhuzh she had. Like, she was no longer the smartest girl. Zhuzh, yeah. She had like a zhuzh in St. Thomas, and she didn't have that anymore in Florida. She wasn't the smartest girl in class. She felt like an outcast. People said she was ugly. They made fun of her accent. And her mom made things worse. Like, her mom was her biggest hater, basically. And she said that her mom could make her look and feel so small that she feared no one would ever see her. The only time she had in her life that was a chance for her to be happy was this 2-hour period after school before her mom came home from work, which is so sad. Like that freedom she had for those 2 hours. She finally felt loved and pretty when she met a blonde-haired boy named Kevin, and he came over during those 2-hour periods and gave Karinne her first kiss. From that moment that she had that kiss, Karinne wanted more. So when she was 13, they moved to Tampa, and Karinne found a new best friend named Charlene. Charlene's mom was like a active mom. She would take the girls to do teen things like go to the mall, something Corinne's mom would never do. And on one of these mall trips, Karinne was shocked when they went to get picked up by the mom to find a car of 3 older boys there instead. Now, Charlene had lied to her mom as well about arranging this plan. And Karinne just kind of rolled with the punches and got into the car with them. They went back to an apartment with 2 other boys. All of them were 17 and older. Karinne and her friend are 13. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So Karinne hits it off with a guy named Ronnie. At some point, they go into the bathroom and start kissing and attempt to have sex, but it's too painful for Karinne, so they stop. And go back into the living room. And Karinne says when they came out, she noticed a guy named Rodney looking at her in a very intimidating way. He then pulled Ronnie aside into another room. And after that, Ronnie ignored her, and Ronnie was sitting next to her the whole time.
Rodney,
yeah, sorry. She was relieved when they said they were taking the girls home, but Karinne became worried when they drove past her apartment building and Charlene was just looking out the window. Rodney said, "Let's go to the house," and Karinne began crying. They pulled up to an abandoned house, and Karinne was plotting a plan to run and escape, but there was nowhere to go. Inside the house, Rodney took her to a corner of the house where they were alone, and he began licking and kissing her.
Ew.
She screamed, and a neighbor heard her scream and called police, and the whole group hauled ass out of there. It turns out Rodney, who was 18, was a criminal and had caused trouble in that neighborhood before. So the neighbors, when they heard something, they immediately would call the cops. And she thought her nightmare was over, but then they pulled into a motel where Rodney raped her while her friend Charlene, Ronnie, and another guy hung out on the bed next to them. They finally escaped the next morning. Like the boys were like sleeping and they like escaped from the motel and like called Charlene's mom to pick them up. Obviously, Karinne was relieved that that part of it was over, but she knew she was going to face something even more traumatizing when she returned home. And the moment she walked in, her mom began hitting her, saying she smelled like sex, and told her to go take a shower. So Karinne speaks of this obviously being the end of her childhood and will later think it was why she was constantly searching for this sexual experience to eradicate that first memory of one. Her initial trauma presents itself in other ways during this period. She starts sucking her thumb. She starts wetting the bed up until high school. And of course, her mom will beat her for those things as well. Never once asking, like, what happened? What's causing this behavior? Something that was clearly caused by something. And Karinne just starts fantasizing of getting out of this life. Obviously, she's no longer a good student, but she does become an avid reader in order to escape. She loves mysteries. She's reading Maya Angelou and Edgar Allan Poe. She also loves music, and she starts really listening to a lot of music, and she starts fantasizing about being a star. Now, her home life gets worse, and Karinne finally decides to fight back the next time her mom tries to hit her, and that obviously doesn't end well, and the mom threatens to kill her. She packs up a few things and runs away from home, and one of the things she took was her Wu-Tang Clan tape. This is her first rap album that she has, Enter the Wu-Tang, 36 Chambers, and this is like her lifeline. She loves this tape. So she's on the streets with her bare minimum items and her Wu-Tang tape, nowhere to go, living on the streets for a month.
Oh my God.
Before her mom finally finds her with the police in tow. She lays it out for the cops saying her mom beat her and she didn't want to go home. And they told her that would mean she'd have to go to juvie. And she's like, great, take me to juvie.
Wow.
So that kind of, the cops were like, okay, well, maybe she's telling the truth if she's willing to do that. They ask about her father, she hasn't seen her dad since she was 6, and they actually managed to find him. He's living in Arizona now. They ask Karinne if she wants to go live with him if he offers it, and she says yes, sobbing. And soon she's off to Scottsdale, Arizona in January of 94. She's going to go live with her dad, who she basically doesn't know.
And she's like, what, 15?
Yeah. So things start off good. Her dad has money. She's well taken care of. But of course, things go downhill fast when her dad gets married and her stepmother has a baby. That's when the fighting begins. Money gets tight. And Karinne was just done with parents. She's like, I want out. Like, I don't need these people. So the summer after 11th grade, she packs up a hefty bag full of stuff and went to a friend's house. And she's like, I'll just figure out my living situation in the morning. She has a boyfriend at the time named Reggie, and he's a bit of a bad boy. She's also friendly with his mom, who has an idea of how Karinne can make money. She could get a job where Reggie's mom worked at an all-nude exotic strip club. Now, Karinne is 16 at this time, but she gets hired with a fake ID and through her boyfriend's mom recommendation.
Oh my God. It's like Tracy Lords vibes.
Very. So she's obviously nervous. She creates an alter ego, Izette Santiago, and she'll use that for many years.
Yeah.
Her first dance is to Come Down by Bush.
Desi.
So that's where it comes in.
Look, no offense to her, but that is a wild choice for a strip club song. That's like such a weird choice that it's like you tell stories about that later. Like, oh, the weirdest song.
Yes.
The weirdest song I ever heard play at a strip club was Come Down by Bush.
Totally. And that becomes her staple first dance number. She's like attached to it.
Stop it.
Yes. So she quickly becomes very popular, probably because she's really young.
Oh,
like,
God.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
She's pulling in like $1,000 a night on some of these nights. And Reggie's mom, who is in her mid-30s at the time, she's not too happy that her protege is becoming bigger than her, and their relationship turns really sour. She becomes very popular with local pro athletes. She dates some players with the Arizona Cardinals, like the football team.
My God.
And she starts getting big money side gigs, doing like private performances at parties, one-on-ones.
Sorry.
And she gets called to one of these gigs in December of 95. So even though she's not really in the mood to do this gig, the money is too good to pass up. A limo is sent to pick her up and takes her to a huge mansion in Phoenix. A man opens the door. She doesn't recognize him, and he says, "I'm Cool G Rap." She still has no idea who he is, but describes him as big and ugly. Now, do you know who Cool G Rap is?
Who's
Obviously.
that?
He is he's one of the original rap guys from like the late 80s, I guess, with like Rakim, and I mean,
he's like already like he's like older.
Well, he's 27.
Well,
and then in 95 or something.
He's old for her.
For her.
All these guys are a little old.
Well, they're all old for her. Yeah. She's still only 17. So despite that, throughout the evening, she's like, he's kind of funny and charming. She doesn't end up dancing for him, but she does stay the night. As I mentioned, he's 27, she's 17. The next morning, he asks for her name. She gives that fake stripper name she has. And then she hears him ordering plane tickets for them to both go to New York City. He told her she was going to be his wife. And he also instructed her to call him Daddy, which she refused. Now, once they landed in New York and were at his manager's apartment, they do have sex. And she says during sex, "Fuck me, Daddy." And he was putty in her hands after that. So she's like, oh, my sexual prowess makes me feel powerful. Like I can get power over these men with that. It doesn't really work that well, but it gives her a little boost of power at the beginning, at least. Back in Phoenix, she's now shacked up in his mansion. She's expected to be a happy homemaker. There's no more sexual clothing. He doesn't allow it anymore. This is like instant.
Damn.
And she's like, supposed to be this like wife at home, like 17-year-old, like with skirts down to her knees, all this kind of stuff.
No.
It wasn't long before they began bumping heads, and it's largely due to the fact that he is so controlling, and he's also constantly talking to other women. And she's like, what the fuck? When Karinne unplugs the phone one point when he's talking to another woman, she pulls it out of the wall, 'cause this is like the
I
90s, so you still
know.
gotta use
You gotta
phones.
pull that out of the wall.
This is when he hits her for the first time. Now, of course, in hindsight, she realizes she should have left right then and there, but it kind of put her back in the headspace of being abused as a child, and she immediately went into like a subservient state, and their relationship went from bad to worse. Within the first 4 months together, she lost 40 pounds, and a lot of that is due to the fact that she would throw up when they would start fighting, like she was so sick to her stomach about it. She's hospitalized at some point due to a severe punch he gives her to her kidneys.
Oh my God.
And she, of course, lies to the doctors, confirming G's story that she fell over a chair. And so what does she do at this point? She starts praying to get pregnant because she's 17.
Oh
So it's
no.
like,
Oh no.
and then the next time he hits her, she screams, telling him she's pregnant, like after he hits her. And he's like, I don't care, bitch. That's like what he says to her. So the pregnancy does not soften him at all towards her. During her pregnancy, she says she constantly has to suck his dick, sometimes for hours, and once getting a nosebleed from sucking.
What?
I was like, what? I was like, why is it taking him so long?
Why
like,
is
he on drugs or
why
drunk?
is it taking him so long? But also, I have never heard from a note like that.
I didn't either.
That's
never.
serious.
No, and this is like what she's expected to do as an apology with him whenever she does something wrong, according to him. At 3 months pregnant, he kicks her out of the house and tells her to go to a shelter because she has nowhere to go. And while she's waiting for a cab to take her to the shelter, he demands that she cook him a steak, which she does, stressing the whole time to make it perfect before she leaves.
She's so abused.
I know. At 7 months pregnant, he goes to New York City and has a grand mal seizure in a cab. And when I read this, I was like, yay, he's going to die.
Did he?
No. And this was not his first seizure. He had also been rushed to the hospital previously for a seizure after doing cocaine with Bobby Brown.
Oh,
of course.
Look, that's for experts only.
Hey, and this will not be our only Bobby Brown time we have this episode. We'll get to Bobby later. Now, of course, Karinne flies up to care for him, and things are pretty good between them during those 3 weeks when he's recovering and she's taking care of him. But it wasn't long before G told her they needed to bring in another woman since she couldn't fuck him properly.
This guy's the biggest piece of shit.
Dude, he sucks. Back in Phoenix at 9 months pregnant, G has another seizure while taking a shit on the toilet.
Come on.
This is how bad Karinne is. She wipes his ass before paramedics come so he won't be embarrassed. So I was like, that's when you leave him on the ground and call 911 and let him get humiliated. Now, January of 98, she gives birth to her son. And as of that moment, she says she no longer loved Cool G rap and she's just now trying to get out of there.
Yeah.
G was initially ecstatic about his baby, but he quickly became bored with being a dad and jealous of all the time Karinne gave their son. Once again, he threatened bringing in another woman to do what she couldn't. This led to a huge fight where they spit in each other's faces multiple times back and forth. Like they had a spit off, which is sickening to me because I would lose it if someone spit in my face. And then he hit her to the ground while she's holding the baby, and the blood from her face went on the baby. This was the first and only time she had him arrested for domestic violence. And now this plot to escape is in high gear. She wants to protect her child. She knows she needs to be able to earn money. So she gets him to pay for a boob job in preparation for possibly having to return to dancing at some point when she leaves him. She works on her style and her looks. She gets back into music, something that G had forbade her from listening to, especially male artists who he thought she just wanted to fuck. She starts listening to Jay-Z, DMX, Nas, and she hears them all talking about bad bitches. And she's like, that's what I want to be.
That could be me.
And she does end up fucking many of these artists. So it is the ultimate revenge on G. His biggest fear came true. Now, in January of 99, she leaves Cool G Rap for good. First, she takes a little trip to LA. Her first night out, she meets Brother Marquis from Two Live Crew at a club. At this club there, she also saw from across the room Ice-T holding court. looking cool as fuck, surrounded by women, but not really giving a fuck about the attention. Just
Yeah.
being super chill. And she's like, I have never seen such confidence and charisma. And she's completely enamored with Ice-T. The next day, Brother Marquis calls and she kind of downloads all her troubles with G on him. And he's like, I have a friend who can help you. It's Ice-T. Uh, they meet the next
Well,
day.
he's a dedicated detective with
Exactly.
the Special Victims Unit.
Right. I mean, not at this point,
No,
but
not
almost. He's
Well,
prepping
yes,
for the role.
99.
No, he doesn't enter the show until 2000.
Well, he's getting inspired.
He's getting inspired. He's
getting
definitely prepping for it. I'm only saying that because I looked it up because I had to figure out a timeline thing. So he tells her story, and he's like, that touches me. He said she had to go back to Phoenix. She said she had to go back to Phoenix to tie up some things, and she plans on moving back to LA for good. He gives her $300 and tells her to call him if she needs anything in Phoenix. And when she moves back to LA, he's going to help her get settled, show her the ropes of living in Hollywood. And she cried knowing that she had a true friend for the first time. So she finally moves to LA, and Ice is waiting for her in the apartment he found. And at that point, they're inseparable. He does have a long-term girlfriend and baby mama at the time, but whatever. She's like, doesn't care. And all these guys do. I mean, It's crazy. So she describes him as a real man who made love with every stroke and every lick.
Wait, they weren't just friends?
No, they started fucking.
Oh, shit.
She describes the way she describes her sex scenes, it is pornographic. It's almost comical because she's like, it's so dirty.
Because it's like that woman, that episode we did about Jodie Baby Doll Gibson. Yes. All the sex she described was like erotica.
No, she's like
very
I took
graphic.
His whole manhood into my mouth and was sucking and like it's just like so. It's like, oh my God. And she's like, this was like the first guy who was nice to her, really. And he's a good guy to her. Like, there's no bad stories with Ice-T, luckily. So one day she's watching MTV when she is drawn to a raspy-voiced rapper who was short but cut. She waited for the end of the video to come so she could get his name. She whispered to herself, Ja Rule.
He's raspy voice.
And she's like, I want him. And she's like, I'm going to get Ja Rule.
Really?
She's like, I need to fuck this guy.
Ja Rule?
Yeah. She goes out that night to the Garden of Eden, a nightclub, and she makes her way to the VIP section, and she could not believe her eyes. Standing right before her was Ja Rule. But sadly, he was there with another woman. That did not stop her because she had a destiny to fuck him. She sidled over and secretly slipped him her number. And they start talking on the phone for the next 4 months because he went back to New York.
Yeah.
So they're just like talking on the phone, and she's driven crazy with desire talking to Ja Rule. In April of 2000, Ja Rule is at L'Hermitage Hotel, and Karinne is finally on her way to see him.
Oh my God.
He opens the door wearing nothing but the hotel bathrobe. And she immediately pushes him on a chair, saying that she was ravenous for his cock. She starts blowing him and he's screaming. She says at some point he grabs his ankles and pulls them up over his head.
Wait. Ja Rule grabs his own ankles?
His own ankles and pulls them up while she's
flexible.
Sucking him. Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah, and she said he was screaming. And
did she lick the balls too?
I'm sure she licked it all.
I mean, you got to at that point. He's showing you.
He's giving you the whole taint
and
all of it.
He's showing you butthole and taint.
Yeah.
He wants it licked.
He wants it all licked. And they fuck for 5 straight days. They don't they kind of have people come over the hotel.
But she must have been sore.
I mean, yeah, because he's big.
Is that what she said?
I have a list of dick things that she talks about.
Okay, good.
He's big. So it's during this 5-day fuck fest that this inside joke with some of the Murder Inc. crew starts popping up, and it's based on the Jedeikin song Blood Pressure. Got a chick named Superhead. She gives Superhead, just moved in the building, even gave the Superhead. Now, this is an inside joke that quickly becomes a joke in the world of hip hop and outside of it, I guess, at some point. And she kind of regrets it. It definitely becomes like the scarlet letter for her. Now, we'll stop here and pick up after the break. I got a lot more. So Ja Rule leaves town again, and Karinne picks up with a guy she recently met at the Interscope offices, Fred Durst.
Stop it,
Yes.
Desi.
Now, I've been waiting to tell you this tidbit of information for a very long time. They go out on their first date to P.F. Chang's at the Beverly Center.
Stop it, Desi. Stop it. I have a question.
Yes.
What does Fred Durst order at P.F. Chang's?
Well, I don't know the exact dishes, but I'm going to tell you what he does, and it's honestly baller move. She says they're at P.F. Chang's, and he orders 5 entrees for himself because he wants to taste them all.
Well, that's how you do it.
And she gets one for herself, and then he leaves the majority of food behind, and Karinne is like in awe. She's like, this guy is like, he has an air of prestige.
An air of prestige.
Yeah,
the man
she's
who ordered,
like so impressed.
This man is high class. P.F. Chang's at the Beverly
Remember
Center.
the P.F. Chang's there that had that big sculpture?
Of course I do. Fucking P.F. Chang's at the Beverly Center. I agree with Fred Durst about ordering 5 entrees if you have the money, but unlike him, I would take all of that.
Oh
home.
my God, me too. That's where I disagree.
I disagree with wasting food.
So, and Karinne is also blown away that because of her childhood, obviously, it's like wasting food is like unheard of. Like,
right.
You don't do that.
And you can't be like, can I box that up
Can
and
I
take
get
it
that
out?
orange peel beef?
Oh, I want that right now.
Dude, I remember one of the saddest things in my lifetime was when P.F. Chang's went really downhill because it used to be so good. I liked it.
I remember the first time I ever went was like 20 years ago. I went to the one in Santa Monica.
Me too. That was my one.
Okay. Because at that time, P.F. Chang's was like, it wasn't considered, like it was still a chain restaurant, but it was like slightly elevated.
Right. It was like Houston's.
It was like the Houston's of Chinese food at that point. And then it became like more like your average chain.
No, I remember eating there, and that's not like I'm like, oh, this is so authentic, but it was really good chain or gentrified Chinese food. Like there were several dishes I really liked, and I do remember
cup chicken.
The lettuce. I mean, they had dishes I loved, and I remember going at some point recently in like the past few years, and I was like, oh my God,
it's gone downhill.
It sucks. Like it's not good. Anyway, I love that detail. They
would take her to P.F. Chang's
can you
at the
imagine?
Beverly Center.
He's like way too rich to take someone to
Fred Durst. I know.
That's very He's so Jacksonville, Florida. I can't like
is he from there?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
He's probably your cousin.
I know. I'm probably related to this asshole because I would go to P.F. Chang's for that dishes. That proves something more than any DNA test would.
You heard it here first. Desi's cousin is Fred Durst.
So they didn't fuck that night. But he did ask for pics of her tits to jerk off to.
Oh, he's a tit man.
Yeah.
I believe that.
And she thought that was weird but flattering. So she also begins to hook up with someone in the book that she calls Papa. Now it's pretty much confirmed that Papa is Method Man.
Oh.
Which is a huge get for her because remember, she loved Wu-Tang.
That's a huge get for anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
He is gorgeous.
Yeah. So she basically is like, this is the great love of my life.
Right.
He actually deserves to be called Papa, not like G, who wanted to be called Daddy. And they're not fucking yet, but it's going to happen. So in April of 2000, Ice is off to New York to film SVU. And he tells Karinne he has to let her go. Like, he can't be her sugar daddy anymore. But he would always be there. And she was ready to fly on her own. So he felt safe leaving her. He's a good side piece guy.
Yeah.
He takes care of them. Now, meanwhile, Fred Durst calls her again to come meet him at his office. I think it's like in Encino or something. And when she arrives in his office, it's like instantly on. Before she knows it, she's on her knees. And she said she was looking at his pierced dick with a sick admiration.
Wait, Fred Durst?
Yeah.
So she sucked Fred Durst's cock.
Yeah, right now she's sucking it.
And it's pierced.
It's pierced. So she had to be confronted with that white pierced dick.
That is alarming. How big's the dick?
Let me look up Fred Durst. I have a list.
Oh, good.
Where is he? I think he's average.
This is what I picture. I picture average length but girthy.
Oh, you think girthy?
I do think he has a girthy penis.
Yeah, she doesn't specify. I think she was like, it's fine.
Yeah.
She's had much bigger, so I don't think it's easy to impress her.
Okay.
But we've seen his dick.
We have?
Because he had that
Did
where he was filming someone like blowing him and then his dick popped into the frame or something.
I've seen so many dicks.
I know.
I don't even.
You're like that girl with the hot dogs being thrown at her.
That's me. I've seen so many dicks, I don't even
I think
remember.
it's pretty average, like perfectly fine.
Perfectly fine dick.
So he said to her, make me come and I'll marry you.
Oh.
And the reality is, though, after she made him come, he basically just dismissed her and like sent her out of the room and never talked to her again.
Aww.
So not a nice guy. So she really needs an ego boost. Imagine sucking Fred Durst's dick and he treats you like garbage.
Ugh.
The lowest you can feel, probably.
Doesn't let you take home the orange peel beef. Doesn't even offer it.
That's crazy. Like, he's like, oh, you got P.F. Chang's. What else do you want from me? Now, luckily, Ja Rule was back in town, so she's got some action going there. She finally gets together with Papa, or should I say, as she puts it, feasted on his cock. She also says that he found his home in the warm, wet confines of my mouth and throat.
Wow. Now, do you think they talked about Fred Durst together?
I bet you she didn't mention anything I bet you she keeps it out of there, doesn't talk about other guys with the guys.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't want to, her whole thing is making them think they're like the only one, I think.
Yeah.
Method Man is long, but comes too quick, according to Karinne.
She's very good.
It's not his fault. So she's feeling kind of a mess at this time. She doesn't really have anything to call her own. She's basically being supported financially by all these connections with these men. They're obviously not stable connections because, like, what happened with Ice-T, he's gone now, and that money is gone. She's also, like, nothing more than an arrangement with these guys. Like, she doesn't feel there's any real attachment there. And she's desperately afraid of being alone. So she's not feeling great about her life at this point. She's 21 years old now. And she claims in her book she finally finds genuine happiness when she meets an 18-year-old at a party and begins a blissful relationship with him. And that guy is Ray J.
Stop it. Why does this guy get so much pussy?
And now this is before he is famous. Nobody knows him.
He's just Brandy's brother.
He's just Brandy's brother. And unlike all the other guys in her life, he has like no baggage. He's 18, right? Everything was free and easy with him. He's actually an official boyfriend, meaning he likes being seen in public with her. These other guys can't take her anywhere. And this just adds to her feelings of happiness. He's also kind of brought back her youth. She's kind of a kid again with him.
I mean, she's like so young.
I know, but she had like no childhood. So it's like
this
sort of joyful, simple relationship. He's really nice to her, but there are some struggles. Brandy does not approve of this relationship at all.
I'm sorry. Do you remember after Kim and Kanye first started dating and Ray J released that song that called I Hit It First?
Yeah.
And the song just went, I hit it, I hit it, I hit it, I hit it.
Well, it was so funny reading her like chapter on Ray J because I was like, he's so not that guy now, like at all. No, he's so messy. The other struggle with him, he did not go down. And she's kind of like, well, he's 18. Like, maybe he hasn't learned yet. He did kiss her everywhere else, she said, and taught her how to orgasm without penetration. She didn't specify butthole, but she said everywhere else. But why would you? I feel like if you don't go down, you're not kissing the butthole either, probably.
Probably. What if, imagine a guy, there probably is a guy out there who's like, I don't like pussy eating, but I love tossing a salad.
I will go down on your asshole.
I love a
Give
rusty.
It to me.
I love getting rusty trombones. And what's it called when it's a woman getting a rusty trombone?
Oh my God.
A rusty harmonica.
I don't know. It sounds gross. So of course she is still seeing Papa and Ja Rule. And just to make things more messy, Dr. Dre enters the chat. So they meet in a hotel bar by LAX. they don't meet there. They go there to meet. Like, it's not
Yeah.
like they're hanging out there and they accidentally run into each other. And she says it's very awkward. There's no sexual chemistry with him. He's completely shut down and weird. But she's just like, I got to do what's expected of me. And they go into a room in this hotel and he just starts pumping away on top of her. And she's like, I'm not even wet. And she has to run through his resume to get turned on. She has to be like, he's really rich and powerful. Here's all the things he's done.
Yeah.
I got to get horny for this guy. Luckily, that's the last time they fuck. She eventually ends things with Ray basically because he's so sweet. And she's like, I can't hurt this guy. And I eventually will. I might as well get it over with now. So she tells him all about Papa and John, all her other slutty behavior, and basically gets him to hate her so he'll leave her alone.
This is his origin story.
Exactly.
This is his origin story, Desi.
And now he's never going to treat a woman good again. He's going to treat them like his property.
He became so messy after this.
Yeah, she fucked him up. He was an innocent, sweet 18-year-old. He was a boy version of Brandy.
Yeah.
A little innocent boy. But her hold on Ja was not as strong as she thought. While reading a hip-hop magazine, she found out his main girl was pregnant, and she lost it. She exploded at him at a club in a very public way, and he was like not happy. She later calls him like apologizing, and she's like, I'm so sorry. She's upset. And he said, it's cool, Ma, don't worry about it. But she knew when he said that, she could tell he was done, and it was basically over. So just when she was about to spiral, she has a fateful encounter while hanging with a friend at Def Jam Records offices in Hollywood. He introduces himself as Hype and said she needs to get a tan because he wants her in his next video. And that video would be Jay-Z's Hey Poppy, and obviously that's Hype Williams, one of the bigger video directors at the time. A few days later, she's at a mansion on Zuma Beach in Malibu, and she immediately stands out in her skimpy string bikini, and the other girls all hated her immediately. This will be a running thing. It's hard to think back to this period, but initially, these video girls weren't all hoed out. They were wearing like one pieces, and she really brought out that explicitly horny and like skimpy dressed kind of things in these videos. They weren't doing it yet, and they really resented her blatant sexuality on these sets. Because there
was always like sexually provocative video girls happening, and it would be like only a handful, maybe a few of them like would really be scantily clad, but like this was a whole other era.
Yes.
Where it was literal, like, thongs.
Oh, yeah. Like, it just was like a turning point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they also didn't like that because she had all these connections in the hip-hop world. She's, like, chilling with Jay-Z and Damon Dash. And the other girls were told not to hang with the talent. Kind of like they had to stay back. And Jay told her he would always keep her near him during the shoot. So that meant like she'd get a lot of screen time, basically, because she'd always be right by him.
Yeah.
So they got along really well. And at some point, he invites her to go down to the beach while they're taking a break from the shoot. Once on the beach, he took his dick out, put a condom on it, and put his hand on the back of her head. And she's, of course, went along as a thank you for treating her so well on the set.
With a condom.
He put a condom on. I don't know what to think about that. That I was shocked by that, to be honest. I don't know why.
Mean, he's being safe.
He is being
extra safe.
She said that Jay-Z is real thick and juicy, but you can't stand looking at him when he's on top.
Oh.
Karinne, that's not nice. After this video, she's getting calls nonstop from casting directors and is requested by artists sometimes even to be in their videos. She even gets cast in the Ja Rule video for Between You and Me. And she's like worried that if she shows up on set, he's going to like kick her off set when she arrives. But it's actually another girl named Keisha who tries to do that. She's pissed because Karinne is walking around topless on set and getting a lot of attention. So she calls her guy, Irv Gotti, to come on set. And he comes to the set to kick Karinne off. Now, we know who Irv Gotti is. He is the head of Murder, Inc.
Yeah.
That's Ja Rule's record label. So that's why he's there. They start fighting in Karinne's trailer, and Irv said she could stay if she proved that she really, really wanted to. And we know how she does that. She proved to him she really wanted to, that she loved Murder, Inc., so she gave him head, and she stayed. The girl Keisha was not happy when she saw Karinne walk out of that trailer.
Did she have to give him anal?
I don't know what she had to do, but Karinne beat her that day on set, and eventually she'll beat her again because she does become Irv's main girl at some point. Not good. Next up is Mystical's Danger. Say it!
Now look, this song went triple platinum in my house in 2000.
I listened to this song today because I wanted to watch the video, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, I forgot how loud this, how he's basically
booming.
yelling the
He's
whole
yelling,
fucking
get
song.
on the floor.
So it was really
Watch
funny.
yourself.
Yeah. And she really begins to discover the way to make it as a video vixen. Whatever the other girls won't wear, she will wear. And whatever they won't do, she will do. And on the Danger set, that was where wearing Gold Star pasties.
Yes.
So she's basically topless with Gold Star pasties in this video. She's up in front and center next to Mystical almost the whole time she's there. She's wearing chaps. She has an ostrich skin thong on. And the girls were all disgusted with her, but Mystical loved it. As did the MTV crew, who were there filming a documentary called When Sex Goes Pop, Not That Innocent, which was about sexualized images of women in music videos. And they really found their poster girl with Karinne there, and they loved it. So she had truly arrived, so much in fact that she was cast in her first feature film, A Man Apart, starring Vin Diesel. Now, she would be playing Lorenz Tate's wife. This was directed by F. Gary Gray, and he gave her advice early on, don't fuck your co-stars. Well, that was easy with Lorenz. They were great friends, but there was no sexual chemistry there. But Vin, that was going to be a little harder for Karinne because she declared early on that she was going to fuck him. One thing I love about her is that she's like, I'm going to fuck that guy, like instantly.
I love that too.
Yeah.
Because you can manifest that.
I feel like most women, they don't know how easy it is.
Women can definitely manifest that shit.
Yeah. So one day when she's walking past the cast trailer, she's grabbed by the waist and pulled inside to a trailer, and it's Vin. He's been vibing her too, and he begins passionately making out with her. And then they just go back to set after that. They eventually do start fucking, and she describes him as a sensitive lover with a massive hog. But soon he's cast in Triple X in the Fast and Furious movies, and that would take him away from her, and they don't see each other again.
He went to space.
He went off.
When did they go to space?
I think that was like 9.
Okay.
But he's off. So she's a Hollywood actress now. She's making bank. She doesn't really need a man to pay her way. But it's still nice to have a rich guy on the side to subsidize your lifestyle. And that would come to her again when she is set up on a blind date. She is shocked when she opens the door to her Santa Clarita apartment and sees her blind date standing there. It is Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq. Now, he looks around her sparsely decorated apartment and immediately gives her a couple of $100 in cash. The next day, he has $10,000 deposited into her bank account.
10,000?
Yeah. And he's like, you need to get furniture.
Yeah.
And I need a big couch. I need a big bed if I'm going to come visit you. And I need a big flat screen TV. So he's like, any furniture you buy has to be large so I can be comfortable. I mean, at least he's paying for it.
Yeah.
So he's like, look, I'm not going to see you a lot. Because, he's married, I think, at this point. But I'm going to write you checks and keep you happy. He also wants to reduce her expectations immediately, letting her know she shouldn't be fooled by his size. He does not have a massive hog.
He said that up front.
Yeah, he says it up front. She laughed and she's like, ha. And he's like, no, I am serious. You either like it or you won't. But either way, I'll be taking care of you. So despite not having a 12-inch cock, she found sex with him satisfying.
Now, how big was it?
We don't get a number, but I would imagine on someone as big as Shaq, he's like 300 pounds and like over 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
I would think even like a 6-inch penis would look small, probably, like an average sized penis.
Yeah.
So I think he's probably like average sized on a big guy body.
Oh,
I don't know that
so
it was a
that's
micro penis situation. I'm guessing it
yeah.
was just
I'm
average.
guessing, I mean, he could have been like 8 inches and him thinking
True.
that was small for him.
I think it's just that women think it's going to roll out like a python.
Right.
And it's just like he's obviously gotten used to warning people, like, don't be
yeah.
setting some expectations. So she said they didn't fuck that much. But the one thing she does remember about fucking him was the weight of his body on top of her and how she would be drenched with his sweat afterwards, sometimes having to turn the mattress over because it was so wet.
Ugh.
She couldn't sleep on it.
Her big boy mattress.
Her big boy mattress, that must have been heavy. He also was like, you have to hire a maid because I don't want a woman of mine working and they should be focused on me. Then he started getting more controlling, saying she couldn't go out or speak to anyone, and that was too much. And then she ended things with him. Now, Karinne decided to restart her affair with Irv Gotti. This is obviously a big mistake. Irv Gotti is a bad guy.
Yeah.
We all know this. This is not a good guy. This is not a good relationship. And he basically treats her like a sex slave, passing her around like the pass around girl for Murder, Inc.
Yeah.
She says in the book that Gotti is not known to be the most sensitive person, understatement of the century. And he didn't give a shit about her. They were always high on X. This is when she really hurt. She kind of was doing a lot of drugs throughout all of this, but she really becomes an addict at this point because he's also addicted to X. And they just do it literally. They're constantly rolling. They're nonstop on X. He's insatiable sexually as well. And Karinne describes their sex life as boxing matches, like lasting so long, seeing who could come each other. And sometimes he would actually run from her because it's like, I can't come anymore. So it got to like these kind of like sick levels. They began having drug-fueled parties where things got pretty orgy-esque. Particularly when it came to Karinne doing things to friends and colleagues of Irv's. And this slowly transitions into him using sexual favors from her, almost like payola, to get Murder, Inc. on the radio, to get things going as far as that stuff goes. And yeah, so it's like, give me what I want and I'll send Karinne over to suck your dick, like that kind of stuff. So one of the men Irv gifted her to was P. Diddy. He saw Irv and Karinne at a club one night with the Murder, Inc. crew, and he asked Irv, can I have her? And Irv agrees. Now, this is something he's done before with Kim Porter and Cassie.
Yeah.
Like, he asked people, can he have, like, I think he did the same thing with them. So she doesn't go with Diddy right away. She goes into a limo with Irv, and he says to her, go fuck Diddy now. And tell me, you're going to go fuck him. Like, what are you going to do? Tell me what you're going to do to him. How are you going to fuck him? Like, he's trying to get her to, like, he's trying to get off on, like, this information. And she's kind of disgusted by Irv and sort of excited to fuck Diddy because this is, like, 2001 Diddy, right?
Yeah.
So she does arrive at Diddy's house at 4 a.m., like that same night or whatever. There are armed guards outside, and he greets her at the front door and then takes her to the nearest bedroom. When they open the door, Farnsworth Bentley is sleeping in the bed in that room, and Diddy wakes him up and tells him to leave.
He woke up Farnsworth?
Yeah. So first of all, what's going on there? Why is Farnsworth in the fuck room?
Why? What's Farnsworth doing in there?
I don't know. I mean, I have questions.
Has Farnsworth said anything in the last year?
I don't
and a half?
know, but I feel like Diane Sawyer needs to get on the ball there and get an interview
with him.
So she said they spent 15 minutes fucking, and he said she was one of the best he's ever had, and she's like, same. She's like, but it was completely average.
Yeah,
she just said that. That's not surprising at all. She goes back to Gotti, and he's like pressing her for details, but she doesn't have much. He seems disappointed when he finds out Diddy invited her back for brunch the next day. And Karinne says that he liked to see her discarded like trash after one of these encounters, like with these payola people or whatever.
Fetish.
Yeah. So she was really happy that he was mad that she was wanted again by Diddy. So she arrives the next day for brunch. and she's watching Diddy try on different suits for the upcoming MTV Music Awards. And she said Farnsworth was sitting on the floor cross-legged looking up at Diddy as he tried things on with admiration.
Why am I not surprised?
So she quickly begins to see his appeal. He's very charming, and she becomes a little enamored with him at brunch, but nothing really happens after that. By 2001, Corinne realizes she's like an addict. Her life is like with Gotti is really spiraling out of control. By April of 2001, she'd blown through all of her savings and was basically penniless. She had spent like so much time around rich and famous people, she said, that she began to believe she was one of them, but she didn't have the money to warrant the spending she was doing.
Yeah.
And she's literally facing eviction at this point, and the men she thought would be there for her, Shaq and Gotti, both turned down her request for $2,000 so she could keep her apartment. So she gets evicted. For the next 9 months, she basically is living in her car, sometimes with her son.
Oh my God.
Like, I'm not getting too much into her son, and she says in the book, she's like, I was not like the best mom.
Yeah.
Like, she's sending the son to the dad. She has him, and like, obviously she's a drug addict, so she's not really caring for him the way she should. She begins taking shifts at Crazy Girls Club on Sunset, and she began sleeping with men she knew in the music industry for money just to get by. Two people who do kind of help her out when they can are directors John Singleton and F. Gary Gray, and they're just no strings attached trying to help her. She does try and get sober for a bit, but is eventually back on X, and she had been trying to keep her troubles away from Papa, Method Man, and he eventually does reach out. She spends a morning with him in the studio, and she leaves early to get back to his hotel before he does and she wants to like surprise him. She prepares the room, she sets candles up, and then she gets into the bathtub. She calls him to ask where he was and when he was going to get there, and where he was, and she hears him say he's still working as he opens the hotel door on his phone. That can't feel good.
Oh.
And he explodes with rage when he sees her in the tub, screaming, "What if I had my wife with me?"
Oh
And
my
he's
God.
fucking furious. He basically crushes her. She runs out crying, completely devastated. And unfortunately, this kind of runs her back into the arms of the people she's trying to escape, the Murder Inc. guys. And she meets a few members of Murder Inc. at Mr. Chow's. They immediately give her some pills that she just took, and she almost, instantly feels terrible after taking them. She goes to the bathroom and she begins having seizures. Now, an ambulance is called for her, but she sneaks out before the ambulance comes because she didn't want to get bad press for Murder Inc. And she just leaves the restaurant with whatever had happened to her. That night, she realizes how alone she truly was and that she cares for all of them in a way that they never do for her. An unlikely hero comes in to help her at this time, Magic Johnson. He kind of gets her back on her feet for some reason. He pays for her to stay in an extended stay hotel in Woodland Hills for 6 months. And in December of 2001, her old bud, Exhibit, invites her to join him in Miami for Diddy's New Year's Eve bash at the Shore Club. She doesn't tell Exhibit about her experience with Diddy because she really wants to go and doesn't want him to bail. When Diddy sees her at the party, his face drops. She said he pulls her aside and asked if things were cool with her and that they're friends, right? And he's like, I can't afford for anything to get out. And she's really confused by what's going on.
Now, she wrote this in 2005.
Yeah.
This book.
Yeah, and this was 2001. So she's kind of confused. She just kind of goes back to the party. And a short while later, Diddy grabs Exhibit and takes him upstairs for a private talk. When he returns, he takes Corinne outside and he's like, "What the fuck did you do to that man?" And she's more confused than ever because she's like, "I have no idea what's going on." And he says that Exhibit says that Diddy warned him to be careful around me, not to let me near his home. And Diddy said that he was in the process of buying the home they were in at that moment. But now that Corinne had been there, he was not going to go through with the purchase. And then he said something even stranger. Exhibit told me that Diddy said, "She'll have you on video with fingers in your booty."
What?
And at this point, she said, Exhibit and her just start belly laughing. But underneath the laughter, Karinne was still very confused because that did not happen with
Right.
them. So she doesn't know what the hell is going on.
And
He must be mistaking her for someone else,
he
right?
has to be.
So
Also,
even
the "are we good?" Like,
yeah,
as if he did something bad.
yeah. And she's just
So he
confused.
has to be mistaking her with someone else.
Right. And he must do this all the time.
Of course.
So even more confusing is after all of this, Diddy invites Exhibit and Karinne to a club for an after party. He's probably like fucking high.
Yeah.
So they're having a blast at this club. Exhibit's dancing his ass off, and Corinne's just like watching him dancing, enjoying whatever the vibes. And then she begins to notice something about the club. She pulls Exhibit aside and she's like, "Have you noticed anything unusual about this club?" And Exhibit looks around and notices almost all shirtless, ripped men. He says, "Shit, this looks like a gay club." And then he's like, "This motherfucker brought us to a gay club?" And they start laughing again and they stay and party, but they're like, "What the hell is going on?"
Yeah,
Like,
Exhibit's like, no wonder the music's so good.
yeah.
Having a great time.
I think they're just blown away that Diddy was like, what is he doing? Like, what's going on? Like, it
Yeah.
was just weird. And she comments on, like, especially, like, in the rap world, it's so homophobic at that time
Yeah.
that it's, like, it was off, especially with all these, like, that was sort of like a rumor that would go around about a lot of rappers.
Right.
That
They're
they
on
were
the down
secretly
low.
on the down low. So they spend the next few days together in Miami, but eventually, obviously, she has to return to LA and all her troubles remain. She does briefly hook up with Ja Rule again, and this is during his feud with 50 Cent. Now, just what I had talked about, 50 was spreading rumors that Ja Rule was sleeping with Ashanti,
Yeah.
and Ja Rule was threatening 50 to tell people that he was actually gay. And this was going back and forth, this big fight. And that's where Karinne was out again. She's like, "I can't take the Murder Inc., the beefs and all the drama." She like really wanted to get rid of this, out of this chaotic like situation.
Yeah.
So she does begin a relationship with actor Merlin Santana. He started on The Cosby Show as a child actor playing Rudy's boyfriend Stanley. He was on Moesha and The Steve Harvey Show. But he wasn't really working a lot now. He's depressed. So they start this sensitive, sort of loving relationship. They have mutual support for each other. They're both fucked up, so they kind of have this understanding. But tragically, Merlin is gunned down in South Central LA and dies. And this is just another blow to a struggling Karinne. And she kind of views it as a wake up call, but old habits die hard. So before she wakes up completely, she has another little fling. In November of 2002, she begins an affair with DMX. Now, I love DMX. He's a very sweet and loving guy to her, but obviously we know he's a very reckless guy, especially with driving and like
Yeah.
drugs. She says that he would growl during sex and whimpered when he orgasmed, that she was surprised that he actually sort of was animalistic. He barked during sex.
He barked. Of course he barked.
Yeah. And so that was surprising. Their sexual relationship does end because he's just too messed up even for her.
Yeah.
But they do remain friends until his death. Now, around the same time as DMX, she began seeing Bobby Brown.
Oh, boy.
So she really has a bad picker.
Wow.
Now, he's a mess, obviously. At this point, he's separated from Whitney, supposedly, and Whitney supposedly knows about this relationship with Karinne as well. This is another disaster. Obviously, Bobby Brown is also a drug addict. She kind of finds out that he's also on a very tight leash with Whitney still, even though they're separated. She finds like an ATM receipt that shows that he kind of gets an allowance from her still. And oftentimes he blows through the allowance on drugs and they'll get kicked out of whatever hotel they're staying in because he stops paying the bills.
Yeah.
Things get worse. Bad press comes out and he blames it on Whitney's team and their fans, saying they're always selling stories about him to make him look bad. But Bobby does a lot to make himself look bad. Like,
look, we did a 2-part episode on
Right.
Bobby Brown, so I know we covered this era.
Yeah, so she this is how out of it she is. She's like, he always acts so weird.
Oh,
She doesn't know that he's on drugs till like very far into their like fling. It's like, how are you not aware? Like he'll leave and come back. So she says he like
and
left.
she does drugs.
I know. Like, why aren't they doing it together? It's like he was keeping it secret or something.
I guess they like different drugs. She likes
True.
ecstasy and he likes cocaine.
So she said that he obviously would started getting more drugged out and paranoid. And at one point, like towards the end, like one of her sort of final straws, he goes out, comes back, probably coked up or whatever, and he tells her that he's a member of Al Qaeda.
Oh no. He then must have been really fucked up.
He then says he's one of the only people who knows where bin Laden is and that the US government is trying to send him to kill us.
Now, look, I've been fucked up. I've been really, Desi, I've been really high before, really fucked up, but I have never once told someone that I knew where bin Laden was.
So she's kind of like, I gotta end things with this guy. Like, it's getting too crazy. So through all of this nightmare situation in her life, she now has to attend the world premiere of A Man Apart. Right, because the movie filmed a while ago, but we all know how it works. And she's like a mess. Luckily, the studio fixes her up for this premiere. She pulls herself together, and she really needed this confidence boost. So she goes to this premiere. She gets pretty. It does wonders for her. She really wants to take hold of her life at this point, and she begins to write. Now, she has an unlikely supporter in all of this. Damon Dash is blown away by her stories, and he begins introducing her to people who can help her in her writing career. She further took hold of her image by trademarking Superhead and formed an apparel line using that name. She didn't want to hide from her past. She wanted to face it. And she wants to show other people that it was never too late to grow and change, which is what this memoir was, the point of her memoir. Now, just because she was transforming didn't mean she wasn't still getting action. In November of 2004, she meets up with Usher at the W Hotel in LA. They had a fling a few years before, but he got with Chili from TLC, and that kind of ended things. And he was not as famous as he is at this point, right? So
back when they first hooked
up, he wasn't the same level. Like now, he's very famous.
Well, he was
in 2004.
When did they hook up?
The initial time was like 2000.
Oh. He was big.
I'm not saying he wasn't famous, but now he's like mega famous.
It was
Yeah, I think took him to a next level, right?
Yeah.
But she said it had changed him. So whatever level of fame he was now was like, he was an asshole now, but she was still like, whatever, I'm going to fuck him.
He was too big for his britches.
He was way too big for his britches.
I mean, he was on a tear there.
Yeah, that was like where he was. Everyone knew him. Yeah.
Confessions was like such a huge album.
Absolutely. So she said he was condescending. He was a dick. One night he saw her talking to his brother and flipped the fuck out, saying that she wanted to fuck his brother. And she looked at him and she said, if I wanted to fuck your brother, he'd be fucked. And she eventually dumps him when she realizes he had another girl in the hotel room next to where he had her. So he would go from her and then go into the next room. So she's like, no, I'm not letting that happen anymore. Men are not treating me like garbage anymore. So she writes the book. Obviously, it comes out. It's a big deal. The media at the time, of course, is like very slut-shamey towards her.
Of course.
But a lot of people are like, I think a lot of people were fans. They loved it. Where is she now? She wrote several more best-selling books since this Confessions, not the Usher confession. Obviously, there was a lot of fallout, like I said. But she's like, you know what? I made a space for conversations about female exploitation in the music industry, power dynamics, and women's agencies. She says she's in a great place now. She has changed her name to Elizabeth Ovison. So she said Karinne Steffans no longer exists. She did an interview with Essence magazine where she talks about where she's at now. Basically saying, I thought like one quote she said I liked. She said, I also believe in the power of allowing people to think you are stupid because you are a woman. And especially as a Black woman, I do believe there's a certain power in not alerting the guards to your every move. There have been instances where I allow people to think I'm stupid because it allows me to move in silence and without blockages. No one's looking out for my next move. So I thought that was a very dumb bitch merch related. Like
Yeah.
there is something about like taking it and be like, yeah, I am dumb.
But
Do
not
with that
really.
what you will. Like,
Right.
because then people sometimes are confused by that expression when we say it, but it's like, no, that's exactly what we're talking about. She does say that although she had been in therapy for a while, she really hyper focused on therapy when the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
She kind of like really went into all of that. She said she centered herself and she said, I gave myself all the things I would so willingly give to others and that I would never get back. So she's putting herself first. I like that. And she doesn't really have any regrets. And she's happy where she is now. She's like in a good place.
She's got some great stories.
Yeah. And I was thinking when I was like, what are the stories she didn't tell?
I know.
There's probably so many.
I know.
I haven't read her other books. And I don't know that they're all tell-alls like this first one is. I think they have sort of different angles. But yeah, interesting person for sure.
Oh,
what a crazy life.
Fun episode. Loved hearing all these juicy tidbits.
I was trying to find like if she had said anything on the Diddy trial or anything like that. But I do think she's trying to stay out of it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And obviously even saying what she said could have been dangerous for her. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Anyway, we'll have some pics.
Yeah, we'll post some pictures and we'll see you in a few days for the mini episode.
Bye.
Bye.